Well, hello there. Now, this week's drive is a very important segment in this program because we are dealing with a very important car. This is the first Malaysian car that we're properly testing out on InGear, the Proton Suprima S. And it's also a very important car because a lot of young Malaysians will be considering this car to be making it their daily drives. Now, the biggest problem that Proton has is not whether this is a good car or not, but it's the preconceived notion that the public already has towards the company. Now, the people go into the ring already with a specific idea in their minds. Now, the idea right now is to see whether this car will ring bells to those people by saying, hey, I'm a great car. It's time to reconsider Proton in a new light. Well, is it a game changer? We are going to find out. Let's go. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that this part of the car is in actual fact the Privé. It's this part that's new. So let's go and have a look and see if the hatchback really does work. You know what? I think it does. You know why? Look at this lines over here. It points really nicely to this solid, and the cohesiveness of this entire line structure is really, really good. Very pretty, huh? Now, a lot of people will be wondering, will there be a big difference in the rear space? Now, this door is actually the exact same door as the Privé. Try it. Go and cari your Privé and go and see, betul or not, okay? The back here, you've got ample space. Yes, the roof line is slightly lower than in the Privé, but really once you're inside, you've got the recesses inside and no problem. Check this out. Comfortable, right? Yep, very, very comfortable. And also making this car very practical is a very usable boot space, okay? However, slight problem over there. I can't open this boot space from back here because there isn't a lever for me to open it. So I'll have to go all the way to the front. And then we've got this second problem. I open this door over here. It's not there. Yesterday, I was trying to look for the lever for me to pull to open the boot. I actually had to call my friend who worked in Proton, but then she has not seen this car, so even she doesn't know where it is. I had to look high and low. Where is it here? Is it there in the center console? Is it like in the electronics? Well, guess where it is. It's here, in the door bin. In the door bin. Once you've got that sorted, come out to the back. Whilst the boot may not be as big as on the Privé, but you know what? This is a very, very usable boot space. And you can fold the front seats flat, giving you an even bigger cargo area to put all your IKEA stuff in here. I know moms would love that. So far so good, right? Okay, it's time for us to now get some behind the wheels action in this brand new Proton Suprima S. And you know what the funny thing is? This is probably going to be the first car that we try on InGear where actually how this car fares here in the cockpit isn't really going to be the determining factor in whether this car is going to sell well or not, because again, it is about the perception and the idea that people has on this car. Well, here are a couple of things that might change one's perception. All right, to begin with, this is a very comfortable car. I know comfort is relative, but let me just say it anyway. It's a very comfortable car. You've got leather seats, and the seats are actually very comfortable. It's a pretty easy on the eye interior. The design is all right. It's not too bad. Now, let's talk about the drive of this car. Now, of course, we know that this is the car that finally sees the return of the handling by Lotus badge out back. You know, it was discarded several years back, and now it is back again. It says Lotus on the back, and it's supposed to be Lotus in handling, Lotus in ride. And you know what? I'm happy to report that this car is, it has got just about the right amount of fun and drivability that would carve an adequate smile on the face of a driving enthusiast. Not only that, the 138 bhp, 205 Newton meters of torque engine will also be able to do something similar to the face of said driver. It's not exactly the most powerful engine in the world, but it gives you just about the right amount of pokiness for you to actually go like, you know what, this car is not bad. And you know why that is important? It's because this car is made out to be, or rather it's labeled to be as a sporty hatchback. Several points that I don't quite particularly like. The steering wheel, even though it's really pretty to look at and you've got really classy looking black inserts on the go, it's actually dead to the feel. You really don't know what's going on underneath your tires with these wheels, and you should be just about happy enough to know that this will point you in the direction that you want to go to fairly, in a fairly good way. But if you expect it to have chatter, if you expect it to talk back to you and tell you what's going on, if you have grip or not, well, this wheel is not going to do that. Right, that's just about enough about the steering wheel. To recap, the driving sensation and the drive itself is pretty alright. Another point that I'd like to point out here is this. The seating position is actually a little bit on the high side. That is rather unfortunate because, again, think about it, we're talking about a sporty hatchback here. And when you're driving something sporty, you'd like to feel that low slung, drop down feeling of seating position. And I've got this seat here at the bottom, or rather the lowest point, and I still feel that it's fairly high. Also, the steering, you can adjust for height, but you cannot adjust for rake. This car comes equipped with sat-nav. That's good, all right? It's not very often that you get a Malaysian car come fully equipped with sat-nav, so that's definitely something that Proton should be proud of. Alrighty. So it boils down to this. Now, remember I mentioned earlier that this is a very important car for us to review and to make sure we get it right. It's because this car is indeed a very important car for me, for you, and for every Malaysian out there, because we want our dear Proton to do well, right? So in the spirit of making sure I get it right, I actually have a list of the 5 things that I don't like and I like about this car. And let me go through them. Number 5 of the don't likes, yeah? Number 5, the screen brightness of the touchscreen system is a bit too, bright sun, you can't see it. Number 4, the rake adjustment for the steering wheel. Proton, you need to have this in there. Number 3, after a certain RPM, the engine sound becomes a little bit deafening. So, yeah. Number 2, and this is a personal favorite, the position of the switch that you need to open the boot lid is a little bit daft. Proton, come on, you gotta get your act right this time around. And number 1, and this is, the steering feel is too dead. Too dead. It's got Lotus at the back. It needs to have that chatter between the car, the road, and me driving it. All right, those are the 5 things I don't like. Now, 5 things that I love about this car. Number 5, look at this blue. It is just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous color. Number 4, the lines appear very, very cohesive. This car as a hatchback works, full stop. Number 3, there's just about enough pokiness in the engine to make sure that drivers like me retain a smile when I'm driving this car. Number 2, 5 adults in this car, seating position and also comfort, top notch. And number 1, and this is not just true about this car here, it's for any Proton out there, and we Malaysians definitely appreciate this, the aircon is the best in the industry. Cooler than a Ferrari? Most definitely. Now, does this mean that this car is a better car in the entire Proton stables? This is the best car in the Proton stables? You're gonna have to drive it yourself because I need you to believe it. But as far as I'm concerned, Proton, 9 out of 10.